Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. Remember that I'm your personal guide on the journey of growth. Welcome, good afternoon. Um, if you're joining me, please do let me know that you are here. Do let me know where you're joining me from, and how is the weather where you are? How are things going for those in Nigeria? How are you facing up with the economic situation? How is everything going? How are things going with you personally? It's so easy to just, say I'm fine when you're asked, how are you? But I think sometimes we need to learn to go beyond just how are you fine and we walk away. We need to truly share with people and find out really if they are fine. Because sometimes people are not as fine as they put up. Yeah, they say they're fine, but there's more. So sometimes, we need to dig a little deeper to find out truly how it is with people. Okay, so this is Growth Habits with Ngozi. As I said, I'm your personal guide on the journey of growth. I don't just lead you on this journey of growth. I actually go along with you because the things I share, I try to take from my own personal experiences and share. Please, I hope I am being heard. Please do let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if I'm audible. Let me also check from my laptop if I am being heard, because sometimes you think you're being heard, but network is doing its own thing. If so, I am all right, being heard for some time. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure I can see that I'm being heard. Please do let me know once you join me. Let me know where you're joining me from. It's always a privilege and an honor to hear from you. Honestly, it makes my day when I see your comments. It makes my day when I see the things, your viewpoint on things. And thank you for always joining me, both the ones that watch live, that join live, and the ones that watch the replay. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, honestly. If you don't come up, if you don't watch, if you don't watch the replay, if you don't join the lives, well, I mean, what do I gain? Nothing. It will just be so much information out there. But because you do join, because you do come along, you watch the replays, you comment, you send me messages, I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And like I said, this journey of growth, we are going together. We will get to the end, if there's truly an end to growing together. Now, I don't really think there's an end to growing, but you can get to a point where somehow the growth now slows down. It's not as if it stops, because really you can't stop growing until you come to the very end of life. You have to keep growing. But the older you get, somehow the rate of growth slows down. But we don't even have to accept that. We don't have to agree that our rate of growth will slow down. We can keep on going, growing, learning, improving, being productive till the very last breath we take. The choice is ours. If you want to grow, you will. If you want to keep moving, you will. But if you choose to decline and begin to age, in quote, and begin to just rest and relax and don't want to grow, so will it be. So the choice is always ours. All right. Thank you once again for being here this afternoon. We just concluded our series on the hindrances to growth. We chose to start this year looking at the things that could stop us first, the things that could slow us down first. Because once you're able to conquer those things, the journey becomes easier. It truly becomes easier. It doesn't become easy as in there's no effort anymore. No, it becomes easier. You can handle it more because you have seen the possible things that could slow you down. You've seen the possible things that could stop you, and you've put a plan in place to, take care of those hindrances, to surmount those hindrances, to overcome those hindrances. So I want to believe that we learned a few things and that we have begun to put into practice the things that we learned. So it's not enough to hear all these things. It's not enough to just learn and learn and learn. We must put into practice the things that we are learning. So as we have talked about hindrances to growth, I want to believe that we've begun to look into our own life, because one thing that kept coming up in all the discussions about the hindrance is the need for us to sit down and do a reflection, for us to sit down and ask ourselves the hard questions and get answers. I found out that when we tell people to ask the hard questions, they go ahead and ask the questions, ask themselves, but they don't wait and get the answers. If you don't get the answers, why did you ask the questions? So we need to take time, ask ourselves the hard questions. Why am I afraid? Why am I procrastinating? Ask those questions and get the answers from yourself. Like I said, introspection is hard for us as, I think, Nigerians, maybe Africans as a whole, I don't know. But for us as Nigerians, introspection is a little bit more difficult because we are taught not to ask questions generally. If when we were growing up, our generation, if your mom tells you, don't do this, you don't ask why. You don't, you just obey and do. But this generation, this new generation, they are more introspective, they ask questions. So we need to learn the act of asking questions. And as we ask, get the answers. Why am I afraid? Or am I afraid first? Yes, I'm afraid. Why? Do I procrastinate? Yes. Why? When we get those answers, the journey becomes easier. Truly, it becomes much, much easier. Ozo Koli, welcome. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Okay, so that was just a little recap somehow of some of the things that we did the beginning of this year so far, what we have done. So today we are going to start a new series, and that series is on work-life balance. Because yes, we've looked at our fears, we looked at the hindrances, we've looked at the things that can slow us down or prevent us from growing. But I find that a lot of people, especially those of us that work and also have a family to attend to, we find it so difficult to find that balance. It's hard. If anybody tells you, oh, it's not just anything, it is difficult to get that balance. Most times, one side suffers while the other side is thriving. If you're thriving in work, your family life suffers. Or if you're thriving in family, your work suffers. That is how it is with most of us. But see, that there is a I'm even, because I read as I was studying for this, I read that now they don't even really talk of work-life balance because it's looking like they're two different things. They talk of work-life integration because your work life and your family life should not really be completely different. It's still you living the two lives. You understand? It's still you that's living both lives. So you just need to find a way to make them work together. You need to find a way to make them work as they should without anyone being brought down, without anyone suffering for it. Welcome, Madam Titi. Good afternoon, ma. Welcome, ma. Frank Eloago, welcome. I'm glad you chose to join me this afternoon. So, as I was saying, you have to find that happy medium, as they call it, where your work is thriving and also your home life is thriving. So I'm just going to look at some definitions. Oh, let me even tell us that in this series, this is the only time I'm going to be the one talking. I'm going to bring some specialists for the rest of the series to talk about other aspects of work-life balance. The next person that will be here, I believe next week. Yes, next week. This is what she does. She's a coach and she specializes in work-life balance. So she will come next week and talk to us also on how to achieve it and other things. Okay, so I'm just going to do an introduction today. Just give us a general idea of what work-life balance is all about, work-life integration, what it entails, what it means. And then from next week, we'll bring in experts that will take us further um, in this discussion. So generally, basically, work-life balance is just getting a harmony between your work and your personal life. Finding that harmony in such a way that your work does not suffer, neither does your personal life suffer. Is being able to manage your time, manage your energies, such that both your professional and your personal commitments you're able to meet all, and at the same time you're giving yourself the relevant self-care. Because one thing that I have seen is that some of us, we find that happy medium in quotes where our work is not suffering, our family life is not suffering, but our own personal health, our own personal mental space is suffering. So, work-life balance, work-life integration means that none of these areas are suffering. Adora Nwigwe, I'm glad that you joined me this afternoon. You're welcome. So, none of these should suffer. None of these should be put on the back burner. We need to find a way that we find that harmony between our work, our personal life. We find a way to manage our time, to manage our energies. It's not just our time, to manage our times and our energies to meet all our commitments. It means saying no to some things. Remember, we've talked about saying no several times. It means saying no to some things. It means saying yes to some things, of course. It means leaving some things undone, honestly. But we do have to find that happy medium and ensure that in finding that happy medium, you're prioritizing self-care and well-being. Very key and very important. We must prioritize self-care and well-being in finding this work-life balance. So it could mean setting boundaries, because sometimes we do. In fact, we always have to set boundaries. We always have to set boundaries in every aspect of life. But it means, for example, I remember one of the places I worked, I would come home from work, quickly get food ready, and then sit back at my laptop and continue work. 11 p.m., I'm still pressing laptop, trying to do one thing or the other. And, initially, my husband didn't say anything. He just, left me. I'm working. Oti, welcome. Anocha, sorry. I think Oti is your, Oti is Ni. That is your maiden name. So, as I was saying, he didn't say anything initially. In fact, he didn't say anything at all. I would come back from work quickly, get food ready, sit back in the parlor with my laptop and continue work. And this was just happening, and I didn't even think about it. I was just doing it because I felt, I had things to get done. I had deadlines to meet. This was a new job. I had a lot of assignments I had to meet up with. So one particular day, I was in that parlor working on my laptop, and my husband came out from the room. I think he wanted something, but he just came out, stood at the door and looked. I was just looking at me. I felt, when somebody is staring at you, because it was behind me, I felt that somebody is there. I turned and looked at him, And he just said simply, "You're still here." He did not complain. He did not say, choose between me and this work like some people would do. He didn't. He just said, "You're still here," and went back into the room. He didn't even say what he came out for. All he did was that, "You're still here." And he went back into the room. And suddenly it was almost like that thing was it was like a bell went off in my head as he just said that. And I'm like, I'm still here. This is getting to 12 midnight. I'm still here. I'm still pressing computer. I'm still working. And I worked 8 hours that day from when I got to work. I didn't waste my time in the office. I did not sit in the office doing nothing. But here I was at home, still working. So that is set off bells in my head that day as he said that. I went back, like I said, he did not complain. He did not say, choose between this work. He didn't. He just simply said, "You're still here." So as I sat there in my head, I'm like, Ngozi, you are truly still here. This is to 12. You're still here working. Why? And this is the thing I always tell us: ask yourself the hard questions and get answers from yourself. Don't just ask and move on. And as I said them, like, why are you doing this? Is it not possible to still get these things done when you set boundaries? When you keep work at work and home things at home? And that day I sat there. First of all, I shut down the system. That was the end of work for sure. I shut down the system and I closed everything, turned off all the lights, went into sleep. As I got to work the next morning, I sat on my seat for a couple of minutes. I picked up my phone. I sent a message to my boss. Now, this my boss was not, in the country at this time. Sent a message to him, and I'm like, "Sir, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you have me 110%. But once I get home, work has ended." Now, it doesn't mean that if there's an emergency, there's something that must be done, we will not make an exception. But the norm should not be that I get home and I'm still working. So I sent that message. I said, even phone calls, because then they would call at once I'm home, maybe because I know that was because of time difference, but still, it was because of time difference where he was and where I am. When we are sleeping is when they are waking up. So I'm like, "Sir, please, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be hard. But once I've left the office, I have left the office. If there's something that is absolutely urgent, no problem. You can call me. I will attend to it. But it cannot be the norm that every day, or either on my way back from work or as I get home, we're on the phone still discussing the same work. It should not be the norm that 11 p.m. I'm sitting on my laptop working 12 midnight every day. So this is not that, every day was everyday occurrence. So we do need to set boundaries. He wasn't happy initially. My boss, he was not really happy initially because he was like, "What do I mean? So if he needs access to me, he will not have access." That's not what I said. I did not say that you cannot have access. You are paying me and I'm under your employment. But I am a married woman. I have responsibilities in the house. So we need to be able to put caps on where work ends and family life begins. So, set it honestly, initially it was not working well because I know it was the time difference mostly, but also because the person is one of these perfection. He likes to get things absolutely right, no room for error. Initially, it was a problem. After a while, all of us adjusted. As in, all of us adjusted. He adjusted, I adjusted. Everybody adjusted because I set the boundaries and I kept to the boundaries set. The days I had to work, I had to bring work home, different. I know that there was nothing I could do. There was absolutely nothing I could do. I had to bring this work home. But not initially when it was just like expected that I would always carry work home. I hope we understand what I'm saying. So, to one of the most important things in having a good work life balance is setting boundaries. Set boundaries. They have to be there. Clear, clear, specific hours. They need set the boundaries. Set the boundaries. Separate work and home life. Normally, remember, if there's an emergency, maybe you have a strict deadline you must meet, that is different. Then we know that it's something that happens once in a while, but not that it is the norm. So set boundaries. Of course, manage your time well. Those 8 hours you're in the office, use them well. Don't spend the 8 hours you're supposed to be in the office talking to your husband on the phone. 7 out of the 8 hours talking to your children. No. Spend the time you're at work working. Manage your time well. Establish work processes. Establish systems of getting your work done. Have your to-do lists. Tick them off. Do the tasks. Do the work. Do the work. So that when you say, after 5, do not call me, it makes more sense because they could see that between 8 and 5, you really worked. Many of us have problems with setting these boundaries because when we check our 8 to or 9 to 5, whatever hours you work, you are not being productive in those hours. So it's difficult to say, do not, encroach into my personal time. So ensure that the boundaries you're setting, you are utilizing the time for work. Now, this is easy for somebody that's working, you're in paid employment. What if you are a CEO of your own? You're the owner of a small business. How do you now do it? See, it is still also possible. It is still possible. Set working hours. It's you that will establish these boundaries. It's you that will break them. So set working hours, even as that one-man business, even as that small business, even as that entrepreneur. Set boundaries. Say that after such and such a time, work has closed. Remember, bear in mind, you're not saying that if an emergency comes or something absolutely needs to be done, you will not do it. But see, when you set these boundaries and you keep to them, it tells your brain to utilize the hours you have available to the best, to the most efficient, to be the most productive in those hours. When we don't set these boundaries, that's when we get ourselves to the place where even our health is suffering. Even our health will suffer. Okay. So time management, setting boundaries. These are some of the things that we absolutely need to put in place if we're going to have good work-life balance. Maya Roland, welcome. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Now, in talking about, setting boundaries, time management, we have to give room for flexibility. We have to be able to adapt. We have to be able to adjust. This is why I kept harping on the point that if there is an emergency that you need to bring work home, let it be that is not the rule. Let it be the exception. Let it be the exception. The problem is when it is the norm, that you always bring work home, that you're always overworked, that you're always doing what you should be doing in the office at home. when it is the norm, that is when it is a problem. But when you're able to establish, set up boundaries, keep to them, manage your time properly. If a situation arises where you need to maybe do some work at home, then it's not the norm. It's an exception. It's an exception. Okay, like myself, of course, flexibility is important. You can't say, "Oh, I cannot do work after 5," and you never ever do anything after 5. There has to be room for flexibility. This is where I think I've said this how many times now. There is a need. You absolutely have a deadline. You put in the full work in the 8 hours you were in the office, and you still need to get one or two things done quickly. Yes, but it's now an exception. It's not the rule. It's not the norm. All right. So flexibility, even as we are setting the boundaries, we are managing our time, we have to have some element of flexibility in what we're doing. Okay, so as I was looking into this, I found out that when you're talking about work-life balance, for different generations, it kind of means different things. Um, Let me even find that research that yeah, it's for different generations. Work-life balance means different things. Starting with baby boomers. Baby boomers are those born between 1945 and 1960. Okay, you're welcome. Mercy, good luck. Okay, so Gwai, I didn't even notice you joined. Thank you very much for joining me. And yes, you are welcome. You're very welcome. So those are baby boomers. Those that are born between 1945 and 1960. Now, for this range of people, work-life balance was never really an issue. It was never really a concern because, this generation, they were just looking for stability in workplace first. They were so, work employment was just valued. That was what was important. So for them, work-life balance was never really an issue, and they didn't see the need for it. They didn't see the need to even discuss it. They didn't see the need to get into a discussion of work-life balance. Um, Even just making a living was enough work. They didn't have to start thinking of how to balance it with their family life and all that. That was their generation. That was their generation. Then we have and because of that, really, because they never really thought about it, you find that that generation had a high level of stress. They didn't even realize it, but they have high levels of stress because they were working fully and still taking care of family fully. They didn't think of, the effects, the personal effects on themselves. The next generation is what is called Gen X. These are people typically born between 1961 and 1980. Now, this generation generally grew up seeing people work long hours, seeing people have poor, looking at their parents, of course, who are the baby boomers, seeing them, they worked long hours. They didn't bother about work-life balance. So it kind of affected us, the Gen Z, because that is us now. Some of us, I don't know about some of you, it kind of affected us because what is work-life balance? My mother did it. She worked 8 hours full. She cooked, she cleaned, she did everything. So why would I even talk about work-life balance? That is how our generation lived. We tried, we attempted, to have work-life balance because also, even as we saw that our mothers did it, we also noticed that our mothers were overworked. We also noticed it. And we tried to create work-life balance for ourselves. We tried. But many of us, we saw it as being lazy when you're talking of work-life balance. Because your mother did it. I don't know if you if you understand. Your mother worked probably full time, took care of the family, still cooked and cleaned without any in it. You understand? So even as you're in your head, you're thinking, there has to be something else. There has to be some kind of balance to this thing. Does it have to be this hard? Even as you're thinking that, you find yourself falling into the same trap that your mother was in or your parents. So yes, we try to spend more time, with our families. We try to, what we saw happen with our parents, we didn't want it to happen to us. We didn't want to be overworked. We didn't want to be overstressed. We didn't want, all that drama. But even at that, we still find ourselves, many of us, going into the same rut, going into the same situation. Yes, we tried to get, family vacations and things like that. We tried, but you find that because of where we are coming from, we didn't also do a very good job of having work-life balance. Then you have the millennials. Um, we have the millennials. These are generally those born between 1980 and 2000. For this set of people, work ethics to them generally is secondary. It's just a part of life. Work is something you do. For them, enjoyment was more important than work, really. This generation, I'm sure if you check around you and you see people born within these time frames, you will see the traits of these things I'm talking about. So for millennials, enjoyment was more important because they have seen their grandparents all work and no play. They saw their parents, they tried to put in a bit of play into the work. So for them, please see this stress this woman is going through. I can't deal. I cannot. So for them, work was just secondary. It's just something that should be done. The life was more important than the work. So you can see that in each of these generations, there was always a skew in the work-life balance. Is either skewed towards work or is skewed towards life. There was really no, will I say, complete balance in any of these generations. So because these millennials are more enjoyment, let me put it that way, enjoyment focused, you find that the workplace began to change. Well, this is more noticeable outside of Nigeria for sure. You see that the workplace began to change. You began to see workplaces that are more friendly. Like I think I did a review the day I watched this movie. Was it last year? 2 years ago? We Work. We Work. I talked about some of the lessons from it. That um, company, enjoyment was too much. Yes, they were working, but they had just like I'm sure if you read about like Google Office, you see that they have play area. They have play area for people to play. The place my daughter is working, they play table tennis in the middle of the day. Our generation, how does that work? We didn't see things like that. But because they have seen their grandparents, they have seen their parents, the millennials, they want to enjoy life. And because that is their focus, the workplace began to change a little bit to take into consideration that these people are enjoyment people. If you don't give them a means to enjoy work, they will not work. They will not work. Okay, so that is what we saw. If you can, go and watch that We Work. That's WEWORK. We Work is a movie that will teach you a lot of things. So I think it's on Netflix. I hope so. I don't know if it's on Netflix now or Apple, but I will confirm and let us know. If you can, go and watch it. Go and watch it. So you see that the millennials, this was their own, this is just their own. And In that way, too, I think somehow they also didn't get it completely right. In focusing, in trying, oh, okay, Mercy says that the kind of company she's planning to own. Yes, they brought in the life into the work so that you're not thinking too much of work and forgetting to play. So they brought in opportunities for you to relax, opportunities for you to play while at work. While at work. And the thing is that actually helps you work better if handled properly. That is the thing. So if you're planning to have a company that has brings in the play into work, you have to handle it well. People can also get too playful and forget to work. Like I said, my daughter's office, they have table tennis. They when you walk, and your brain is beginning to touch. You know how it happens. You get up and you go and play tennis, let off the steam, then you come back and continue working. All right. So that is millennials. So we can see that in all these generations, things got better each generation for sure. There was improvement in work-life balance in each of this generation, but also in each of this generation, caution has to be applied so that one side does not fall while the other is rising. Don't get too involved in work that you forget to rest, that you forget to enjoy life, that you forget to take care of you. Do not also get too much invested in taking care of you that you don't do your work. This is an issue I have with some people that because of you don't want to overdo things, you want to have a good quote work-life balance, you leave work and you don't get things done as you should. This is where time management comes in. Manage your time properly. You will get things done and you will have time to play. Yeah. So, I hope I've been able to pass across good information, especially talking about these generations and how work-life balance existed and how it was somehow practiced in those generations. All right. So I think I will go on. Let me check time. Yeah. Um, okay. So if you really truly want to have good work-life balance, there are a few things you need to do. One, which if you have been following me for a while, you will see that this has been a constant thing. Pause and ask yourself, what is currently causing me to be stressed? In my current situation, why am I stressed? What is causing the stress? What is causing me to be unhappy if I'm unhappy? What is affecting my work? What is affecting my personal life? What are the things I am prioritizing? See, this asking ourselves question, it is so important. It is so important. Like I said, many of us were trained or were brought up not to ask questions. Please ask yourself, even if you won't ask any other person, ask yourself relevant questions. Pause, take a minute, find out what is causing stress around you, around me. What are those things? If you have to, bring out journal and write, bring out pen and paper, write, note down what are the things causing me stress. What are the things making me too unhappy? What are the things affecting my work? What are the things affecting my personal life? What are the things I am prioritizing right now? What are the things I am losing out on? Sit down, take time, reflect. In doing this, you will find where the gaps exist. You will find where, the pendulum is bending to one side or shifting to one side and not the other. So pause, sit down, ask yourself these questions. You will get the answers if you're serious. If you truly want to have the answers. You will. You will have them. You will know the things that are causing you stress. You will know what you're prioritizing right now. You will know the things you're losing out on. So you're not just doing this exercise for academic purposes just to have it. The aim is for you to now be able to put in place the things that are needed to solve the problems. The areas that you're losing out, how do you win in those areas? The things that you're prioritizing that are not relevant, how do you adjust so that you're prioritizing the right things? What are those things affecting your work and your personal life? When you write these things out, or when you take the time to ponder, to pause, to think, to ask yourself these questions and get the answers, truly half the solution has come. Just that basic act of asking the questions and getting the answers gives you the first release and the first relief. And then you look at the things that you have written down and begin to find solutions. And at the same time, while you're doing this review, while you're doing this, asking yourself these questions, pay attention to how you're feeling. Pay attention to what you're feeling. Pay attention to why you're feeling what you're feeling. Sometimes, we be like, I'm upset. But we don't know why we're upset. We might think, oh, I'm unhappy right now, or I'm stressed because I'm working 8 hours and get home and still have to work another maybe 2-3 hours. But maybe that's not really what is causing the stress. Maybe that's not really what is causing you to be upset at that time. So sitting down and figuring it out, because what might be my areas that I need to reprioritize, the areas I'm losing out on, will probably not be yours. So you need to sit down. You need to do the work to find out what you're prioritizing that you do not need to, what you are not prioritizing that you need to. Sit down, do the work, get it. There's a quote I saw. It says, work-life balance is a circle, not an achievement. Is a circle, not an achievement. So you have to keep checking it. You have to keep checking it. That you achieved work-life balance, let's say this period, does not mean that in the next 1 month something will not go skewed. Does not mean in the next 3 weeks something does not shift. So you need to keep checking it. You need to keep doing the checkup on your work-life balance. You need to keep doing the pausing, the questioning, so that at each point in time, you're able to make the adjustments necessary. It's a circle, it's not an achievement. You can never truly just achieve work-life balance and it's like that forever. Things change, situations change, circumstances change. So it has to be a continuous review. Remember to pay attention to your feelings. It's not just about writing down what is making you unhappy. Why? Why? Why do you feel this way? Okay, pay attention to your feelings. And then, of course, once you have done all these things, make the adjustments necessary. Reprioritize if you need to. Make some changes if you need to. Do a schedule if you need to. Sit down and talk to someone if you need to. But sit down and, do what needs to be done. Make the changes. Don't just think about the changes and never make them. Make the changes. If you need to maybe adjust your working hours. In Nigeria, it's not easy to adjust working hours. It's either you're working or you're not. It's not like maybe abroad where you say you take up less hours. In Nigeria, it's either you're working 8 hours or you're not. So for us, it's a bit more difficult to say, oh, I'm working too many hours. That is why I'm stressed, or I need to reduce the number of hours I'm working. We can't really reduce the number of hours we are working, but we can make adjustments to how we are working. Like the example I gave, after 5, work is closed. We have finished work. You can still get me on my way home, the drive home. You can still call me, oh, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. I will answer you. As I drive into my house, walk into my house, my focus is my family. If that's what you need to do that. Do that. But you see, I had to figure out that that's what I needed to do. So do you have to sit down and figure out if that's what you need to do. Um, yeah, the assessment has to be done by you. Then make the adjustments, like I said, that you need to make the changes. Sit down with your family, agree what needs to be done, do it. Because in this life doesn't, when they say this life does not have duplicate, we say it and we say it and it has become just a saying. But see, this life does not have duplicate. There is no do-over. There's no do-over. It's very few people that get the opportunity, that they get a second chance at life to do it better. Maybe you were an accident, what should have been a fatal accident, or you had, sickness that should have ended your life and somehow you survived. You have a second chance. Most of us don't have that. So make the most of it now. Make the most of it. There's no do-over really, most times. There's no do-over. Yes, God gives us opportunities to do better, but the life is one. If it's gone, it's gone. If it's gone, it's gone. We really, most of us cannot come back and redo. So do the things that are necessary. Do the things that are necessary. There's no need to sit down and say, okay, I will tomorrow. Procrastination. Do it today. Do it today. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's really not. So do it today. Do it today. Figure out what you need to change. If you need to, be more focused at work, if that's what is going to make you be able to have good work-life balance. Be more focused in the 8 hours you're in the office. Be more productive. Find tools that will help you. There are so many these days. Find tools that will help you do your work well. Plan ahead if you have to. Most times when it comes to office work, you can plan ahead. Even as an entrepreneur, you can sit down and plan the things you're going to do for your business tomorrow, today. Plan it out, write it out, and follow it through as much as you can. Put in, for example, for an entrepreneur that, your business is almost basically your life, put in opportunities to rest and relax in the midst of the hustle, as we call it in Nigeria. In the midst of the hustle. Find time to take your children out. In the middle of that work day, find an opportunity to maybe take your children out. Find an opportunity to sit with your children, even if it's not taking them anywhere. Sit with them. Enjoy them while they are small, if they are still small. So don't, some of us say, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot. Plan ahead. Plan ahead. And if you're working, maybe you're in the office, block out times to work, do like 20-minute blocks. I remember that in one of the places I worked, I was using Outlook and I saw that the Outlook gives you an opportunity to put in, like, I will work from 8 to 10, non-stop focused work, then take break. Now, the break does not mean you have to get up and go out as per, go and eat or anything. The break would just be for you to walk around and come back. It's actually programmed into the system. So I took advantage of it. I plotted out my work day like that. 20 minutes blocks of concentrated work. No phones, no nothing. After the 20 minutes, I get up. I walk outside. I walk upstairs. I come back. I continue working. That way, I am doing my work. I am getting in some form of exercise. I'm giving myself a release from the work so that I am not only focused, I'm not only productive, my mental health, my physical health, everything is being attended to. Okay, so embrace productivity hacks. There are many. If we look out, we will find. I just gave us an example of one. Embrace productivity hacks if you're in the office, even as an entrepreneur. Have, blocked out time of concentrated activity. And this time, there is no distraction. But, don't let it be too long. Then take breaks. Stretch in the break. So when we say take breaks, people think it's not a big thing. Just stand up, stretch is enough. Stretch. That activity of standing up from that chair where you were, or sitting up from that table or whatever, and stretching already breaks the activity and gives your brain a break. So just stand up, stretch, walk around for a few minutes, come back, continue. Tour, you're welcome. Okauhiambe, welcome. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I'm so glad you chose to join me this afternoon. We are discussing, it's an introduction to work-life balance. This period, we're going to be talking about work-life balance. So today is just an introductory session just to give us an idea of what to expect. As I said from the beginning, I'm going to bring in experts who will talk to us about this, who, from their wealth of experience, tell us more about how to achieve work-life balance. Okay, if I think I've said this before, if you need to end work at a certain time, end, even as an entrepreneur, because we like to claim, as entrepreneurs, no time. You can set closing time. You can set closing time. You can set closing time. I repeat, you can. So go ahead and establish that after such and such a time, work has closed. Remember, yes, you as an entrepreneur, you tell me, but if somebody wants to buy something, especially if you're an online entrepreneur, does it mean I will not answer? You cannot answer actually. If you establish that you have closing hours, people will keep to what you establish as your rule, as the regulations that guide your business. People will keep to it. But when they intrude and you allow the intrusion, they now know that, okay, this is not a strict thing. I can keep intruding. This is where, when we started, we say set boundaries. Set boundaries. Human beings keep to boundaries when we enforce them. But when we set boundaries and we don't enforce them, they will intrude. They will intrude. So have working hours as an entrepreneur, as a business person, have working hours. Now, that does not mean, like I said in the beginning, that if something, absolutely needs to get done, you will not do it because you have, your working hours have closed. No. But let that be the exception. Let that not be the rule. Your business will still grow. You will still do well. In fact, customers will begin to appreciate that this person is a person of principle. Their working hours are between this, and they will bring the business within those hours. They will bring the business within those hours. And they will know that, oh, it's after the close of business. Let me wait till tomorrow. And they will wait. That thing that is telling you that, customers will run away is not true. Some will. You don't need those ones. Truly, those ones that will not have the I don't want to say good sense now, to know that the work has closed, this person has a life. You don't need those ones. You need the customers that will appreciate and value your time and value the rules and regulations that guide your business. Okay, so have, set working hours, establish it. Establish it. If you establish it, people will, they will obey it. Then, there's something I've not tried this. People have been telling me about it. I think I'm going to begin to personally do this. That is to have a time where your apps on your phones don't work. So this phone we have, this phone can even be our biggest stressor. This phone, it can be our biggest stressor. It can be the biggest hindrance to having a work-life balance because your phone is with you. Your business is on your phone. Customers are calling you. Things need to be done. But if you set up, I understand there's an app. I didn't even remember. I didn't check the name now, but I understand there's an app they can put on your phone, and you set after so and so hour. Certain apps on your phone don't work anymore. Facebook, Instagram, they don't work. They shut down. Just like we have for our children. If you have tablets for children, and then you set that after say 8 o'clock, the tablet goes off. It goes off. You can have the same thing on your phone, so that after a certain hour, your Facebook doesn't work, your Instagram doesn't work, your WhatsApp doesn't work. So nobody can even reach you. They will reach you when you open the next day. So utilize some of these technologies so that you can unplug from phone, unplug from social media. That business, truly, honestly, that business that you think you're going to lose because you shut down for a few hours to help yourself, it's not worth it. Because by the time the effects of the stress begin to show up on your body, you won't even be able to attend to any of those businesses. You will not. Have you been in the hospital and you're on drip and all those and you're still pressing phone? You're still attending to customers. Does it happen? No. So it's better. Take care of yourself. Unplug when you need to. Establish time of closing work and all those things. Okay. Also, take time off. Work-life balance is what we are talking about. Work-life integration. Take time off. All this money that we are packing, where are we packing it for? If tomorrow, because of stress, we wind up in the hospital, who are we packing it for really? So take time off. Nothing is happening. That business is not shutting down because you took time off. See, this is why you need to establish systems in your business so that the business can continue even if you are not there. Take time off. This is why you establish systems to do your work in your office so that when you're not there, you take leave. Work goes on. Work goes on. So take time off, but establish systems in your business, in your workplace, whichever one. Establish the systems so that when you are off, things are working. But most times, we are worried about taking time off because we don't have the systems in place. If we're not there, nothing works. Even for your online business, do you know you can automate your whole selling process from beginning to end, and it needs minimal human interaction. There are people that can do it for you if you don't know how. Automate the process so that sales are going on without you. I think they call it funnels. There are people that know these things. Get them involved. In your office, there's one thing I always do in everywhere I've worked. I always had at least one person that knows everything that I do in the office. at least one person that knows every single thing. I don't hide information. I don't hoard. Because me, I must go on my vacation. You don't monetize my vacation for me. I have to go on vacation. And as I'm on vacation, do not call me. Do not call me. Allow me to enjoy my vacation. Do not call me. I always have someone that can do just about everything I can do in the office. I train them immediately. I come into an office. That's the first thing I begin to look for. Who is going to be this person? And I begin to put you through. I begin to put you through. No, some people are afraid the person can't take over my job because they are not me now. They're not me, first of all. There are still some things that are me. You can't have. You just can't have it because you're not me. But as per the work, learn it. I will teach you everything so that even if I'm there, I'm not there. Work goes on. When it now comes to those ones that are, it's only me that can do because I'm Ngozi anyway. So we will know. We will know. But see, the basic work, it moves on with or without me. Okay. Boma January, thank you for joining me. I'm glad that you're gaining value. I'm glad that this is proving valuable to you. So we have talked a lot about work-life balance. I've given us a few ideas of what we could do to achieve work-life balance because, see, this life, we must live it. We must enjoy it. What is the need that we work, we make money, and we're not enjoying it? We have to work. We have to make money. We have to also enjoy it. So practice some of these things that we have talked about. Establish. Don't even joke with it. Boundaries. Don't joke with boundaries. Set them up. Enforce them. Establish and enforce them. And you will find that you're happier. You're more relaxed. You achieve more. You're more productive. Gloria Joa, yes, it's the truth. You are more productive, you achieve more, you get more done than when you just leave things. And in the end, possibly your personal life, because that's what usually suffers. Your personal life is suffering. Your health is going bad. You're stressed. You won't even do the work well under those situations. Okay, so thank you for joining me this afternoon. I want to believe that I've impacted some knowledge to us on work-life balance. As I said, this is just an introduction. From next week, I will have a coach. This is what she does. She teaches work-life balance. She has master classes. She has programs all on work-life balance. So she'll be here next week and the upper week. Two sessions. Yes, she'll be here, and she will take it further from where I stopped today. Prince Chibaik, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I'm glad to see all of you that joined me. As I said, I hope we have gained something. I hope we have learned something. Let's apply the things we are learning. That's the most important thing. Apply the things that we are learning, not just to have knowledge, but to apply the knowledge. Thank you once again for joining me. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Growth Habits with Ngozi. And of course, my personal Facebook page here. Also, follow us and get other valuable information and other valuable matters for you that will help you on this journey of growth. Because see, grow, we will grow. We will all grow. We will grow together. And we will continue to grow together. Thank you for joining me. See you next week, Tuesday. And remember to make today count. Be valuable and grow. Thank you. And bye for now. See you next week, Tuesday. Bye.